High Counselor Zixveri's tentacles twitched nervously as she watched the holographic display. The footage showed human soldiers fighting with unprecedented efficiency against the Proxima Centaurid forces. But what truly disturbed her was their complete immunity to psychic attacks. "Play it again," she commanded, her crystalline eyes fixed on the scene before her. The hologram flickered, showing a squad of Earth soldiers pushing through a wave of psychic energy that should have left them helpless. Instead, they moved with purpose, their minds clearly their own. This defied everything the Council knew about human limitations. In her centuries of service to the Galactic Space Council, Zixveri had never seen anything like this. Humans were supposed to be susceptible to mind control. All younger species were. It was how the Council maintained order, how they prevented wars, how they guided developing civilizations toward peaceful cooperation. "Counselor," her aide Melix spoke softly, "we've identified the source of this development, a research facility on Earth, led by a scientist named Lisa Martinez." Zixveri turned her attention to a new hologram showing a human female with dark hair tied back neatly, working in what appeared to be a laboratory. "Tell me about her," she requested. Dr. Lisa Martinez, age 34, graduated from their Massachusetts Institute of Technology. She specializes in neuroscience and has been working on a classified military project for the past 3 years. "Our sources indicate she's developed something they call the Mental Shield Program." The council chamber fell silent as they watched Dr. Martins working with her team. The footage showed her adjusting equipment connected to a soldier's head while monitoring brain activity on nearby screens. How did they achieve this? Zixveri wondered aloud. Humans shouldn't have this capability for at least another century. On the display, Lisa was speaking to a colleague. The council's translation systems converted her words. "The breakthrough came when we realized we could amplify our natural resistance. The human mind isn't meant to be controlled. We just needed to strengthen our natural defenses." Zixveri felt a chill run through her exoskeleton. The implications were staggering. If humans could resist psychic influence, the Council's primary method of peacekeeping would become useless. The footage shifted to a testing chamber. A soldier, identified as Private Alan Cooper, sat calmly while alien psychic energies bombarded his mind. The readings showed 0 mental penetration. He was completely immune. Dr. Martinez's notes indicate they've already begun implementing this technology across their military forces, Melix reported. They call it Project Mindwall. Zixveri rose from her seat, her tentacles writhing with concern. "We need more information. Send observers to Earth immediately. They must remain undetected. We can't let the humans know we're watching." The council members murmured in agreement. They had all seen how quickly humans could advance when they felt threatened. If they realized the council was concerned about this development, they might accelerate their programs even further. In her laboratory on Earth, Lisa Martinez had no idea she was being observed. She was focused on her latest test subject, Private Sarah Wells, who was demonstrating remarkable resistance to their strongest psychic simulations. "Your readings are perfect, Sarah," Lisa said, checking the monitors. "How do you feel?" Sarah smiled, removing the neural interface headset. "Fine, actually. Better than fine. It's like having a shield around my thoughts. I can feel the attempts to get in, but they just slide right off." Lisa made notes on her tablet, trying to contain her excitement. After 3 years of work, they had finally succeeded. Humans could now defend themselves against any attempt at mental manipulation. At a nearby desk, Dr. Eric Palmer was reviewing the data from earlier tests. "Lisa, look at these patterns. The shield isn't just blocking psychic attacks. It's actually getting stronger with each attempt to breach it." Lisa walked over to examine his findings. "Like a muscle getting stronger with exercise," she mused. "This could be even more effective than we hoped." Unknown to them, a cloaked council probe hovered outside their window, recording everything. Its quantum transmitter sent the data directly to the council chamber light years away. Zixferi watched with growing concern as more test subjects demonstrated complete psychic immunity. The humans were protecting their minds more effectively than any species in galactic history. "We must convene an emergency session," she announced to her fellow council members. "This changes everything about our relationship with Earth." In the following days, more observers were dispatched to Earth. They watched as the mental shield program expanded, as more soldiers received the treatment, as humanity took its first steps toward true mental sovereignty. The Council's worst fears were confirmed when they intercepted a message from Earth's military command. Project Mindwall is now operational across all frontline units. Full deployment to remaining forces will be complete within 6 months. Lisa Martinez worked late that night, unaware of the interstellar crisis she had sparked. She was reviewing the results of the day's tests when she noticed something interesting in the data. "Eric," she called to her colleague, "take a look at this. The shields aren't just blocking psychic attacks. They're adapting to each new type of mental assault. It's like they're learning." Eric studied the readings. "That's incredible. The human mind is actually evolving in response to these challenges." In the council chamber, Zixferi received the latest reports with growing alarm. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were getting stronger. Each attempted psychic intrusion made their mental shields more resilient. "We've created a situation worse than we imagined," she told her fellow council members. "They've not only developed immunity to our influence, they're using our own attempts at control to improve their defenses." The council chamber erupted in concerned discussion. Some advocated for immediate intervention. Others suggested waiting to see how the situation developed. But all agreed, humanity had changed the game. As the council debated, Lisa Martinez prepared for another day of tests. She had no idea that her work had caught the attention of the galaxy's most powerful governing body. She was focused on her goal, ensuring that no one could ever control human minds against their will. The observers continued their silent watch, recording everything, sending their findings back to the increasingly worried council. Humanity had taken its first step toward becoming a truly independent galactic power, and nothing would ever be the same. In her private chambers that night, Zixferi reviewed all the data one more time. The conclusion was inescapable. The humans had done something unprecedented. They had broken free from one of the fundamental tools of galactic control, and they had done it centuries ahead of schedule. The question now was, what would they do with this freedom? Kreith, the council's top investigator, had mastered the art of invisibility. His chameleonic skin shifted perfectly to match his surroundings as he moved through the Nevada military facility. The desert heat didn't bother him. His species had evolved on a much hotter world. Inside the research center, Dr. Peter Collins was preparing for another day of testing. He adjusted the equipment while 2 volunteers, Kevin Wright and Mary Sullivan, waited patiently in the testing chamber. Neither of them knew an alien was watching from mere feet away. "All right, let's start with baseline readings," Peter called out through the intercom. He studied the neural patterns displayed on his screens. "Your shields are holding steady from yesterday's session." Kreith moved closer, his specialized sensors recording everything. The humans had developed something remarkable here, a way to strengthen their natural mental barriers until they became impenetrable. Mary sat calmly in her chair as the test began. Waves of psychic energy, generated by captured alien technology, washed over her. The monitors showed no effect on her mind. She remained completely in control. "How does it feel today, Mary?" Peter asked. "Stronger," she replied. "It's like the shield is becoming part of me. I can feel the attacks, but they're like waves breaking against a cliff. No matter how big they get, they can't wear it down." Kevin's test showed similar results. His mental defenses had actually grown stronger overnight, adapting and evolving even while he slept. Kreith found this deeply troubling. In all his years of investigating emerging species, he had never seen such rapid advancement. The humans weren't just resisting control, they were getting better at it with each passing day. Lisa Martinez entered the control room, carrying a tablet filled with new data. Peter, look at these readings from the overnight analysis. The neural pathways are actually restructuring themselves to maintain the shields more efficiently. Peter studied the information with growing excitement. This is amazing, Lisa. The human brain is adapting to make the shields permanent. Once established, they might never need reinforcement. Kreith recorded their conversation, knowing the council would find this development particularly alarming. A temporary defense was one thing, but permanent, self-maintaining mental shields were another matter entirely. In the testing chamber, Mary and Kevin were now undergoing more advanced trials. The facility's alien technology was programmed to try every known form of psychic manipulation. Nothing worked. "It's not just that we're blocking the attacks," Mary observed. "I can feel my mind becoming clearer, sharper, like removing a fog I never knew was there." Lisa made notes on her tablet. That matches what other subjects have reported. The shields don't just protect. They enhance normal mental functions. It's as if our brains are operating at full capacity for the first time. Peter ran another series of tests, pushing the power levels higher than ever before. The psychic energy in the chamber would have overwhelmed any normal human mind. Mary and Kevin remained unfazed. "No penetration at all," Peter announced, checking the readings. "Your shields are holding at 100%. Kreith moved to a better observation position, his interest growing despite his mission. The humans had stumbled onto something that went beyond simple defense. They were unlocking their species' true mental potential. Later that day, Dr. Amy Chen joined the team to review the latest results. "The enhancement effect is spreading," she reported. "People with the shields are showing increased cognitive abilities across the board. Better memory, faster processing, clearer thinking." Lisa nodded. "It makes sense. When you remove the background noise of psychic interference, the mind can work more efficiently." Kreith recorded this conversation with special interest. If the shields were actually improving human mental capabilities, the implications were staggering. The testing continued through the afternoon. Each trial demonstrated not just the effectiveness of the shields, but their continuing evolution. The human mind was adapting, growing stronger, becoming something new. "Run the compatibility test again," Lisa instructed. "We need to be sure the shields won't interfere with normal psychic abilities." This caught Kreith's attention. The humans weren't just developing defenses, they were ensuring their own psychic potential remained intact. The results appeared on the main screen. "Perfect compatibility," Peter announced. "The shields only block unwanted intrusion. All other psychic functions remain available." Mary demonstrated this by easily connecting with Kevin's mind, a basic psychic skill that humans had recently begun to develop. Their shields remained strong, but they could choose to lower them for voluntary mental contact. "It's like having a door instead of a wall," Mary explained. "We control who gets in and who stays out." Kreith sent an urgent update to the council. The humans had created something far more sophisticated than anyone had imagined, a selective defense that preserved their own growing psychic abilities. As the day's testing wound down, Lisa gathered her team for a final review. "We've achieved more than we originally planned," she told them. "These shields aren't just protection. They're the next step in human mental evolution." Peter added, "And the best part is, once established, they seem to be permanent. Even if someone took out this facility tomorrow, they couldn't stop what we'd started." Kreith watched the humans pack up for the day, his mission complete but his mind troubled. He had come to gather information about a defensive technology. Instead, he had witnessed the beginning of a transformation. In his secure transmission to the council, he wrote, "The humans have not merely developed a shield against psychic control. They have found a way to accelerate their species' mental evolution. The implications of this advancement cannot be overstated." As the facility grew quiet for the night, Kreith remained to observe the automated systems continuing their work. The computers processed endless streams of data, refining the shield technology, making it more efficient, more powerful. In the darkness, the alien investigator realized he was watching history unfold. The humans had changed the rules of galactic society, and they had done it not through aggression or conquest, but by unlocking the potential that had been within them all along. The Council would have to decide how to respond to this development. But one thing was already clear: humanity could no longer be controlled. They had ensured their mental freedom, and with it, their independence among the stars. The Galactic Council's delegation arrived on Earth with all the ceremony their status demanded. Their massive ship, gleaming like polished crystal, descended through Earth's atmosphere and landed at the International Spaceport in Geneva. Susan Baker, Earth's ambassador to galactic affairs, stood at the reception area, her diplomatic smile masking her concern. The unexpected visit from the Council's highest representatives couldn't be good news. The delegation emerged from their ship, three tall, ethereal beings led by High Counselor Zixferi herself. Their translucent forms shifted in the sunlight, creating rainbow patterns that danced across the landing pad. "Welcome to Earth," Susan greeted them, bowing slightly. "We're honored by your presence." Zixferi's voice resonated in their minds rather than their ears. "Ambassador Baker, we come on urgent business. The Council has grave concerns about recent developments in your military technology." The delegation was escorted to Earth's defense headquarters, where Military Commander John Patterson waited. His posture was rigid, his face stern. As one of the first recipients of the mental shield technology, he stood immune to any attempt at psychic influence. "We'll speak plainly," Zixferi announced once they were seated in the conference room. "Your species has developed technology that threatens the stability of galactic society. The mental shield program must be discontinued immediately." John Patterson leaned forward in his chair. "With all due respect, Counselor, that's not going to happen. The program is defensive in nature. It protects our people from unwanted mental interference." "You misunderstand," another council member, Trilix, interjected. "The ability to resist psychic influence upsets the balance we've maintained for millennia. It cannot be allowed to continue." Susan Baker watched the exchange with growing tension. She had suspected this might be the real reason behind the Council's sudden interest in Earth's affairs. "The mental shields are now a fundamental part of our defense strategy," John stated firmly. "We won't abandon technology that protects our soldiers and citizens." Zixferi's form flickered with agitation. "You don't understand the implications. The Council has used controlled psychic influence to prevent countless wars, to guide developing civilizations away from self-destruction. Your immunity threatens this entire system. Perhaps it's the system that needs to change," Susan suggested carefully. "Surely there are better ways to maintain peace than mental control." The third council member, Rixon, moved forward. "Let us demonstrate why this control is necessary." He raised a crystalline appendage, focusing his psychic energy on Commander Patterson. Nothing happened. John sat calmly, his mind completely shielded from the attempt at influence. The council members drew back, clearly disturbed by their failure. "As you can see," John said, "we're quite serious about maintaining our mental sovereignty." Zixferi's voice took on a harder edge. "If you will not voluntarily cease this program, the Council will have no choice but to impose sanctions. Earth will be cut off from galactic trade, technology sharing, and diplomatic relations." Susan straightened in her chair. "Before you make threats, Counselor, you should know that the shield technology has already been implemented across our entire military structure. There's no going back." The conference room crackled with tension. The council members communicated silently among themselves, their forms shifting with agitation. "You don't realize what you've done," Trilix finally said. "Without the ability to exert psychic control when needed, how can we prevent conflicts? How can we guide younger species away from destruction?" "By talking to them," Susan replied. "By reasoning, negotiating, finding common ground. The same way we're attempting to do right now." John nodded in agreement. "Mental control isn't peace. It's just another form of warfare. We've chosen a different path." Zixferi's form pulsed with frustration. "And what of the other species who might follow your example, who might develop similar defenses?" The entire galactic order could collapse. Or it could evolve into something better, Susan suggested. Something based on true cooperation rather than control. The council members conferred again, their translucent forms swirling together in agitation. When they separated, Zixferi spoke again. We will give you one planetary rotation to reconsider your position. After that, if you persist in this course, the sanctions will begin. We understand, John replied calmly. But our position will not change. Earth's mental sovereignty is non-negotiable. As the delegation prepared to leave, Susan made one final attempt at diplomacy. We remain committed to peaceful cooperation with the Council and all galactic species. We simply insist on maintaining our mental independence while doing so. Zixferi paused at the door. You humans don't understand what you're risking. The galaxy operates on careful balance of power and control. Your actions threaten everything we've built. Maybe it's time for something new, Susan suggested. A galaxy where species work together as equals, not as controllers and controlled. The delegation departed, leaving Earth's representatives to consider the consequences of their stand. John turned to Susan once they were alone. They'll be back, he said. And next time, they'll bring more than threats. Susan nodded. Probably. But we've made the right choice. Humanity has to be free to determine its own path, even if that path leads us into conflict with the Council. Outside, the Council's ship lifted off, its crystal surface catching the setting sun. As it disappeared into the darkening sky, both Susan and John knew that this confrontation was only the beginning. Earth had chosen independence over submission, freedom over control. The consequences of that choice would reshape the galaxy, for better or worse. In Geneva that night, Susan Baker drafted a message to all Earth's allies among the younger species. They needed to know what was coming and why Earth had chosen to stand against the Council's system of control. The message was simple. We choose freedom. The Council's sanctions hit Earth like a tidal wave. Trade ships vanished from Earth's space lanes. Alien technology exchanges stopped. Diplomatic channels went silent. But Earth had prepared for this moment. Amanda Foster, head of Earth's Defense Council, stood before the emergency meeting of world leaders. The large chamber buzzed with nervous energy as she began her presentation. The Galactic Council believes they can force us to abandon our mental shield technology, she said, her voice steady and clear. They're wrong. We've already completed the implementation across all military personnel, and civilian distribution has begun. The holographic display behind her showed the progress. Millions of humans now protected from psychic manipulation. The mental shields had become a part of Earth's defense structure, as essential as any weapon or wall. What about the economic impact? A concerned minister asked. Can we survive being cut off from galactic trade? Amanda nodded to her aide, who brought up new data. We've been stockpiling critical resources and technology for months. More importantly, we formed alliances with other younger species who share our desire for independence. The chamber's atmosphere shifted from worry to determination. Earth wasn't standing alone. Other civilizations had watched their resistance to the Council with great interest. Suddenly, the chamber's doors burst open. An aide rushed in, face pale with urgency. The Council ships are back, hundreds of them. The massive fleet appeared in Earth's orbit like stars coming out at night. Their crystalline ships filled the sky, a show of force meant to intimidate. High Counselor Zixferi's image appeared on every screen on Earth. This is your final warning. Disable the shield technology, or we will demonstrate why our control is necessary for peace. Amanda Foster stepped onto the global broadcast platform. Counselor, we both know you can't control us anymore. Your threats are meaningless. The Council ships began their demonstration. Waves of psychic energy powerful enough to overwhelm entire civilizations washed over Earth. In past ages, such an attack would have brought humanity to its knees. But not today. In cities across the globe, shielded humans went about their business, completely unaffected. The Council's greatest weapon had become useless against them. Impossible, Sixveri's voice echoed through the communication channels. No species has ever resisted at this level. We're not resisting, Amanda replied calmly. We're simply choosing our own path. The Council tried a new approach. Their ships targeted Earth's leaders, concentrating their psychic power on key individuals. Amanda Foster stood firm as the full force of their attack focused on her mind. Nothing happened. The shields aren't just protection, she explained to the watching galaxy. They're an expression of human free will. We won't be controlled. Not by you, not by anyone. In orbit, the Council fleet's formation began to show signs of confusion. They had never faced a situation where their primary method of control simply didn't work. More ships appeared in Earth's orbit, but these weren't Council vessels. The younger species Earth had been working with arrived, showing their support. They too had begun implementing their own versions of the shield technology. You see, Amanda addressed the Council. This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about all species having the right to mental sovereignty. The Council ships regrouped, their crystalline surfaces flickering with agitation. Their entire system of galactic control was unraveling before them. In Geneva, Susan Baker worked tirelessly to maintain diplomatic channels with neutral species. The Council's way isn't the only path to peace, she explained to her alien counterparts. We can build something better together. The Council made one final attempt. They targeted Earth's communication networks, trying to disrupt the coordination between shielded populations. But Earth's technology had evolved beyond their expectations. The shields adapt, Amanda explained to her staff as they watched the failed attack. Each attempt to breach them makes them stronger. The Council is actually helping us improve our defenses. Reports came in from around the globe. The civilian shield program was working perfectly. People reported feeling more clear-headed, more in control of their own thoughts and decisions. This is what the Council fears most, Amanda told the world leaders. Not just that we can resist control, but that we're showing others they can too. The Council fleet remained in orbit, but their attacks had ceased. They had exhausted their options. For the first time in their long history, they faced a species they couldn't manipulate. Amanda Foster stood at her office window, watching the ships glitter in the night sky. They'll have to talk to us now, she said to her staff. Really talk, not just issue commands. The movement for mental freedom was spreading across the galaxy. More species were demanding the shield technology, refusing to accept the Council's psychic control any longer. Earth had started something that couldn't be stopped. The age of mental manipulation was ending, replaced by an era of true independence and cooperation. In the Council ships above, Sixveri and her fellow leaders faced a difficult reality. Their old methods wouldn't work anymore. The galaxy was changing, and they would have to change with it. Amanda Foster prepared for the negotiations she knew would come. Earth had stood firm, and now they would help shape a new galactic order, one based on respect and free will rather than control and domination. The crisis wasn't over, but the worst had passed. Humanity had proven that resistance wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. The future would belong to those who chose freedom over submission, cooperation over control. As night fell over Earth, the Council fleet's lights mingled with the stars. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new negotiations, new ways of maintaining peace. But one thing was certain: humanity would face it all with minds unshackled and wills unbound. The age of mental control was over. The age of true freedom had begun. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never seen anything like this before. Instead of issuing commands from their elevated platforms, the Council members sat at the same level as the Earth delegation. It was a small change that symbolized a massive shift in galactic politics. Major William Harris stepped forward to begin his presentation. As one of the first successful recipients of the mental shield technology, he had been chosen to demonstrate its peaceful applications. The shields don't just block unwanted control, he explained, standing before the assembled representatives of 100 species. They enhance our natural abilities to communicate and cooperate. To prove his point, William opened his mind to the Council members. not submitting to their control, but sharing his thoughts voluntarily. The aliens watched in fascination as he showed them memories of Earth's transformation. Catherine Morgan, Earth's new diplomatic chief, continued the presentation. We've learned that true peace doesn't come from control. It comes from understanding and mutual respect. The council chamber hummed with quiet discussion as species from across the galaxy considered this new approach. Many of the younger civilizations had already begun implementing their own versions of the shield technology. High Counselor Zixferi spoke, her voice carrying a new note of humility. We believed control was necessary for peace. Recent events have proven us wrong. Lisa Martinez, now recognized across the galaxy for her breakthrough, stepped up to explain the technical aspects. The shields work with our natural mental processes, not against them. They protect while allowing voluntary connection. She demonstrated by linking minds with Catherine, showing how shielded individuals could still choose to share thoughts and feelings. It was connection without coercion, sharing without submission. This is the future we propose, Catherine announced. A galaxy where each species maintains its mental sovereignty while working together voluntarily. The council members watched as more demonstrations showed how shielded minds could cooperate more effectively than controlled ones. Free will, it turned out, was more powerful than coercion. Earth offers to share this technology with any species that wishes to develop its own mental sovereignty, Lisa explained. We'll help establish training programs and safety protocols. In the audience, representatives from dozens of younger species leaned forward with interest. The chance to develop their own mental shields, to be truly free, was irresistible. Zixferi raised her crystalline form. The Council acknowledges that our old methods must change. We propose a new framework for galactic cooperation. The terms were straightforward. The Council would transition from control to coordination. They would serve as mediators and advisors rather than rulers. Each species would maintain its independence while working together for common goals. William Harris demonstrated another aspect of the shields, their ability to detect and prevent harmful intent. We can still stop violence and aggression, he explained. We just do it without taking away free will. The council chamber's atmosphere had changed from tension to hope. Species that had feared Earth's breakthrough now sought its potential for positive change. Catherine Morgan outlined the next steps. We'll establish training centers across the galaxy. Each species will develop its own version of the shield technology, adapted to their unique mental structures. Lisa added technical details about how the shields could be modified for different types of minds. The basic principle remains the same: protection without isolation, defense without aggression. The younger species representatives began signing up for the training programs immediately. The desire for mental sovereignty proved stronger than the fear of change. High Counselor Zixferi made it official. The era of psychic control is over. Let the age of cooperative independence begin. The chamber erupted in agreement. Species that had been controlled for generations could now look forward to true freedom. William Harris shared a final demonstration, showing how shielded minds could work together to solve problems no single species could handle alone. It was a preview of the galaxy's potential future. We're not just ending control, Catherine explained. We're building something better. A galactic community based on choice and cooperation. Lisa Martinez watched as her invention transformed the political structure of an entire galaxy. What had started as a defense project had become a revolution in how species interacted. The council members, adapting to their new role, began working with Earth's team to plan the transition. Centuries of control would be replaced by a new system of voluntary cooperation. Earth will serve as a training center, William announced. We'll help other species develop their shields while learning from their unique perspectives. Catherine Morgan signed the new accords on Earth's behalf. The document didn't just guarantee mental sovereignty. It established a new framework for galactic relations. As the historic session ended, representatives from across the galaxy approached the Earth delegation. They were eager to begin their journey toward mental freedom. Lisa Martinez looked out at the stars visible through the council chamber's crystal dome. The galaxy was entering a new phase of its history, and Earth had helped lead the way. The future would hold new challenges, but they would face them with free minds and willing hearts. The age of control was over. The age of true cooperation had begun. Back on Earth, millions of humans looked up at those same stars, their minds protected and free, ready to help guide the galaxy toward a better tomorrow. They had changed not just themselves, but the entire structure of galactic civilization. And they had done it not through force or dominance, but by showing a better way, a path to peace that preserved the freedom and dignity of all species. The story of human mental sovereignty had become the story of galactic liberation, and it was just beginning.